Hey guys, I'm looking back here for another video. Guys, today I'm going to answer the question, what if Carson Wentz was a Baltimore Raven? And what if Joe Flacco was an Eagle? Would there be any difference? Would Carson Wentz take the Baltimore Ravens this year with their current roster to a Super Bowl? And would Joe Flacco take the Eagles to a Super Bowl? So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to sim this whole entire year. And in this year, what I want to do is see, I'm going to sim to the playoffs because I want to see how far can Joe Flacco take the Philadelphia Eagles? How far can Carson Wentz take the Baltimore Ravens? And also, what will their stats look like? What will their records be? What will their stats look like? And also, you know, just overall, how did they do with that said team? So with that in mind, obviously Carson Wentz is a Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, he did just tear his ACL. So prayers go out to Carson Wentz. Pretty much the MVP this year. Obviously Brady, and you also have Russell Wilson in there for MVP. But nonetheless, Carson Wentz, just what he has done with that team, taking them to #1 in the NFC, and definitely could clinch a playoff berth this week with them winning and a loss by Minnesota. It's crazy to think about. But nonetheless, guys, here we go. So it looks like Carson Wentz took the Baltimore Ravens to a 12-4 record. So Carson Wentz took the Baltimore Ravens to a first-round bye. They gave the Baltimore Ravens the first-round bye. So what did we finish with in the league? So you see right here, we're 12-4, and we won the conference. So you just take the Ravens of this year, guys, you put on Carson Wentz, and they are a #1 team in the NFL. And this is without a lot of players. This is without a lot of injuries, I meant to say. Without Marshall Yanda going into the year. You can see right here all the players hurt. Jimmy Smith is already hurt because he is hurt in real life and the injuries carry over. Alex Lewis is hurt. Kenneth Dixon's hurt. All these guys hurt. And yet, still, he took the Baltimore Ravens to a #1 seed in the AFC, and to put them with home field advantage throughout the whole entire playoffs. Let's look and see what Carson Wentz has done. The only 4 games he lost was to Pittsburgh, 45-7. He lost to the Vikings, 38-24. Lost to the Titans, 31-28. And he lost to the Steelers again, 34-31. And you see right here, these all the wins that he has gotten for the Baltimore Ravens in this game. Don't worry, we'll look at the Philadelphia Eagles in a second. Stat-wise, not Joe Flacco, we call him Joe Flacco. Carson Wentz, 4,100 yards, 526 yards, attempts, my bad. And he's about 290 attempts he incompleted. 31 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Very, very nice day for him. You can see right here, Alex Collins also had one breakout of a season. Danny Woodhead did really good. It looks like his main weapon was Benjamin Watson in this aspect. And then defensively, interception-wise, we had 3 interceptions for the rookie Marlon Humphreys. We had 2 interceptions for Eric Weddle and Tony Jefferson. And, of course, C.J. Mosley, Ladarius Webb, and Anthony Levine. Now, sack-wise, we see right here that Terrell Suggs had 13.5 sacks, Brandon Williams at 9.5, Pierce at 8, and of course Judon at 7.5, and then it goes down to like 2. Touchdowns on defense, 0 touchdowns on defense this whole entire season. And you see right here, John Harbaugh probably would win Coach of the Year for this decision of bringing in Carson Wentz. So again, no other iterations or changes to either team other than the main things. So you see right here, Joe Flacco took the Philadelphia Eagles to a 12-4 record. So even without Carson Wentz, even with just Joe Flacco in there, the Eagles, and this goes to show one thing, guys, and I know a lot of things like, well, you know, Carson Wentz is down. That Eagles team is complete. And that's the difference between that team, and a lot of different teams. I feel like that actual team is so complete, they might be able to still win playoff games and get to a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. So that's the difference when it comes to the team as a whole. The Carson Wentz is the biggest part of that team, but that team is still elite. And that's the difference. So with that in mind, we see right here we have what Joe Flacco has done with the Philadelphia Eagles. And 49-0 win Monday night over the Washington Redskins. Is this in Washington or was it in Philly? This was in Philly. So again, a really great season Joe Flacco did for the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, that team is just so complete. It's hard to, even when they lose their quarterback, to stop them from doing anything. So again, with that in mind, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe Flacco, who actually had less interceptions with the Eagles. Wow. 3,423 yards. We had 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And obviously rushing wise, we had Garrett Blount lead it with 1,600 yards. Jay Ajayi 850. Receiving, Nelson Aguilar had the most. Alshon Jeffrey 886 yards, and of course Torrey Smith at 887. All right, so sacks wise, Brandon Graham 17.5 sacks. Timmy Jernigan, 11. 6.5 for Vinny Curry and 6 for Chris Long. Interceptions-wise, we had Patrick Robinson at 5, Malcolm Jenkins at 3, and Arthur Brown at 2. Now, touchdowns-wise, it looks like still no touchdowns for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, guys, we're going to go on to the next step, and that's going to be advancing to the Super Bowl. And we're going to see, can Joe Flacco and Carson Wentz get to the Super Bowl and face one another? And sadly, it looks like that will not be the case. It looks like the Super Bowl will not go through that. And it looks like right here, the Ravens lost to the Patriots 28-20 in the AFC Championship game. And you see right here, we beat the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs. Carson Wentz had one phenomenal game, but obviously it did not transpire in the AFC Championship game versus the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. Tom Brady did go ahead and stop. Well, he scored 4 touchdowns, and that defense stopped Carson Wentz from winning. Now, NFC-wise, did the Eagles make it with Joe Flacco? No, they did not. They lost in the divisional round playoff game to the Seattle Seahawks, 35-14. So Joe Flacco fell short of any kind of playoff contention when he did again lose to Russell Wilson in the playoffs. So 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 2 interceptions. I'll go back and look at the Ravens stats real fast, but this is going to be what the Philadelphia Eagles ends up doing. They end up losing to the Seattle Seahawks, putting the Seattle Seahawks maybe in the Super Bowl. I have no idea who the Super Bowl is in right now, but you see right here, just completely disappointing for both teams, you know, trading quarterbacks, and Carson Wentz gets them one step farther to a Super Bowl where they do, to a championship where they do end up losing to the New England Patriots. So with that in mind, in Baltimore too, which probably that hurts the most, to see them lose in Baltimore to the Patriots. That would be the worst, especially if we traded for Carson Wentz. But the Super Bowl is what's important, guys. And the Super Bowl matchup is between the Falcons and the New England Patriots. Yes, guys, going back to the wild card, we see right here, Cincy beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seattle beat Carolina. Pittsburgh beat LA, and then finally Atlanta destroyed Detroit. Second round, Ravens beat Cincy, Falcons destroyed the Saints, and it was a very, very close game, 48-45, Pittsburgh versus New England. Seattle beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And then finally in the championship, we already saw those outcomes. But we do see that Atlanta just barely squeaked by the Seattle Seahawks. In the Super Bowl, guys, who is going to win this game? Who is going to be the Super Bowl champion? Will the Atlanta Falcons finally put the choke behind them of last year and go ahead and pull through and win the Super Bowl and beat the New England Patriots and finally be Super Bowl champions? Who ended up winning it? It looks like there's something about the Falcons, and who ended up winning it? It ended up being the Atlanta Falcons, winning 37-32. So let me actually check what the last Super Bowl was. Super Bowl 51. What was that Super Bowl? What was that score that everyone loves to tattoo themselves? 34-28. and this was 37-32. So that was a 5-point deficit win for them. And of course, the last time they lost, it was a 6-point deficit. So very, very similar scores between the 34-28 and 32-37. So very interesting, very cool. Tell me down below what you guys think. And also, give me another idea for another video like this. Peace out, guys.